I'm delighted to be joined on the Savage Situation today by my main man, Dan Lussac. Dan,
Hello.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, I left the house.
You left the house?
Yeah, I braved it. It's cold out there.
It's very wintry. This time of year gets very cold.
It's kind of fine.
It's
It's that thing of like every time I think it's cold and then I put my layers on and I get into London and it's like, oh God, I'm boiling, man. It's so hot.
The underground's deceptively warm, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a microclimate of just heat.
And because we're in a posh bit now,
Yeah, we're in a
you
nice
just
bit.
get a big sweaty red man getting off the train, and there's women with Dior going, "Oh my God, who are you? Who let him in?"
Oh gosh! Well, thank you for coming out. Thank you for braving the weather and being here today. There's lots to talk about. This predominantly being a gaming podcast, so I know that you're a big gamer, so that's probably where we should start, I guess. The origins of Dan Lussac's life in gaming and where it all began for you.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because I had a Spectrum when I was a kid.
A Spectrum?
Spectrum 48K. Bear in mind, I'm 40 years old.
You don't look it, Dan.
I don't look a day over 39. But I've got two older brothers as well, so I kind of got their hand-me-downs.
Mm-hmm.
My dad had a Master System that we weren't allowed to play, but I used to sneak in and play...
Alex the Kid, was it? Or
Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy.
And
that's great.
I had an RPG called Ultima 6, which you can get... If you go onto the Origin store, you can get all the Ultima games. But the only one that I could play as a kid was Ultima 6. And it was £5 more expensive than the other Master System games, which must mean it was better.
It must do. If it's more money, it's got to be better.
Yeah. I cannot remember anything about it. I just remember it being that old kind of blocky RPG.
Was it futuristic, like kind of space?
No, pasty.
Okay.
It's like
pasty.
Paladins and Barbarians.
Okay. Ultima 6. I'll check it out.
Yeah, so they did a whole thing. They had an MMO, Ultima Online and stuff.
God, they really ran with the series, the Ultima games.
Yeah, they did.
Oh my God!
Like I say.
And so the three of you, your brother, the three of you boys,
Three of us.
So were you always competing growing up on games across the board?
No, because like my eldest brother was the one most into gaming, but he's a clear like 10 years older than me.
Okay,
so he's just always going to be better, you know.
Always.
And so I remember him buying himself a SNES when they came out, and he got. Obviously, Mario World and Super Tennis. Super Tennis was rad, but he was very skilled.
Yeah.
So I used to have to sneak in and practice.
There was a Mario. Do you remember Mario All Stars? Do you remember that game that came out? It had like 1, 2, 3, and and Lost Worlds in one game.
Yeah. So I always get confused because like Mario All Stars wasn't it like some weird? That's actually Japanese Mario 2.
Yeah. Yes. That's correct,
but it was deemed too hard for us.
Because you had the Super Famicom, which is like kind of the SNES version in Japan, right? And you had like a different Mario game.
Family
the
computer.
The Famicom.
But yeah, I think, if I remember rightly, like, I'm probably wrong, though. I'm usually wrong with these things.
It sounds right. So it must be true.
It had all the games, though.
It had all the
That's
games.
what we were
Had all the
saying.
games. But Mario was, Super Tennis is, I remember that like it was yesterday. That was a great game too. But you said the Super Nintendo did you kind of go from Master System to like a NES or was there like
no, literally.
Always
like
Sega?
I was thinking about it. Like the first time I ever actually had my own thing was Sega Game Gear. Like,
wow.
And
I
held on to that for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I even had the Master System adapter for it, which was dumb. It was like a big thing, so you could put Master System carts on it, which is the weirdest thing.
That is weird. We used to have a lot of there was a lot of extra peripherals. Like there was. I remember there was like a light for the Game Boy, because the Game Boy. You couldn't play unless you were underneath a window. You had to be underneath a window to see what was going on. But there was like a magnifying glass for it. There was lights.
There was one that was a magnifying glass and a light all in one.
Yeah.
It's like
play whilst in bed at night and your parents aren't watching. You know, it was great. That's great.
And now we can just do supercomputing on our phone.
Yeah, just turn up the brightness to like 100, and you're ready to rock and roll. That's pretty. Spectrum to Master System to SNES. You obviously had like, I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing that you kind of had your kind of brother's hand-me-downs in a way. But when you get to like having your own console, the Game Gear, I remember things like Jungle Book, The Lion King. Was it Columns? You played Columns as well? Was that on the Game Gear?
Columns.
Yeah.
I was weird with it though. I would just buy any random RPG, and I think it was because I just knew they would take more time.
Yeah.
You know, I was being value for money, and I'd go to our local games shop and you'd end up trading in like 5 games to get that one new game.
Yeah.
So, they were expensive, man. They haven't really changed price as well.
No, they haven't. Was Phantasy Star? Was that a game that was on? I remember that was an RPG. Or Final Fantasy games were big.
Phantasy Star was Sega, wasn't it?
I think it was. Yeah.
On Dreamcast. Yeah, Google Phantasy Star Dreamcast controller. It's literally a keyboard with the nubbins of a controller on either end, with like sticks and an entire keyboard.
Yeah,
those were the days.
Were you arcade gaming as a kid as well? You done the arcades?
Well, I'm Essex, so we used to go to Southend and play the hacks Street Fighter consoles,
like the back door. Kind of about the back alley kind of
version.
Well, you know
how you can have Terminator in Mortal Kombat these days?
Yeah. Which is fun to watch, but...
Where I grew up, you could have him in Street Fighter, in hacked. So you used to get these like arcades that would just be all dodgy copies of Street Fighter, and they would have bought like a modded board, because it was literally a board they slipped in. But yeah, all sorts of weird stuff. Like, at first, we used to just be... purple Blanca, and then all of a sudden they were like trying to import characters from different games in, but all they would be doing is putting the sprite over the top, so they would still be like Dalsim or something's moves.
Yeah,
weird times.
God, Street Fighter 2 I think was my introduction to fighting games in general. It was like the entry point. Yeah, because Mortal Kombat was a little bit, I mean, it was quite gory in comparison to Street Fighter, but I think the Super Nintendo with me was the introduction was Street Fighter 2 for me. That was a great game.
It's funny though, because the arcade machines were designed for 6 buttons, and at the time none of the consoles had 6 buttons.
No.
Or if they did, they were badly laid out. You always had heavy kick on the left.
I remember.
And it's like, come on guys, this is the worst place for it. I'm trying to do moves here. I'm doing it all with one hand.
You grew up in Essex, but one thing that we have in common is the town of Reading, my friend.
Yeah,
Reading is like, it's my hometown, and you spent a lot of time there, right?
I've literally lived there half my life now. It's 50-50 Reading, Essex, but I'm still Essex.
For anyone who's listening who doesn't know Reading in the UK, it's definitely the size of like a small city, but it just doesn't have a cathedral, so it can't be.
Yes.
And that's annoying.
To be.
So
like
it's like
Truro in Cornwall, that's a city. There's like 4 guys there and a dog.
Exactly. So, Reading it's a great place. I mean, it is. And looking at your past as well in terms of like your music career and everything you've done in between. One of the places that I think you met Scroobius Pip, I think you booked Scroobius for a gig at the Fez Club.
To play the Fez Club, yeah.
That's right. And Fez Club was, when I was growing up, that was the place that I went to every single weekend. So it's like this weird world where we kind of like were in the same place at the same time, but only now we've become best friends.
So we knew each other before that. We worked in the same HMV years before that.
In the town centre?
In Essex.
In Essex, okay.
Lakeside.
Lakeside.
Oh, shopping centre. Shopping centre life, mate. But yeah, we knew each other from them. But like when he quit, he saved up his money and he was going to go on tour and stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll book him. Because we were running nights, like weird electronica nights and stuff. So we thought we'd put a spoken word artist on as an opener. But what he didn't tell us is he'd never stood on a stage before. So,
ever.
Like, literally, he had this, like, relying on the kindness of strangers tour, and it looked like a big thing, but literally it was the first time he'd ever stood on a stage. He'd practiced. Obviously, he wasn't rubbish or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we kind of started working together, and it was a year later.
Was it 2007?
2006 was that gig.
Right.
And I think at the end of 2006 was, like, when the song blew up, and we were, like, on radio and all that. And then by March, the year after March, we were in the charts.
Yeah. So when it happened pretty quickly.
Yeah, like we weren't a band when we were in the charts. We still hadn't agreed to like form a band and write songs together.
Gosh, I think of Reading in that time being in town as well, and it's now kind of my entire youth was spent on the streets of Reading. In the main street. Oh, I remember back in the day there was a club in Reading called the Matrix. Do you remember the Matrix? The Matrix was like if you're a garage fan,
going out of town.
Yeah, it was like just out of town, and it was the home of the So Solid crew. Do you remember in garage, right? And I remember that was the kind of
Ronnie Size at the Matrix.
Really?
Like performing live with the band when the venue wasn't prepared to have live band. We put Ronnie Size. Why has he turned up with like a full jazz ensemble?
Yeah, what is this? I remember that there was like kind of this turf warfare with garage music as well, and that was So Solid's like home, like that was their home turf. And growing up, it was quite exhilarating. It was quite exciting.
I like that the home of Reading Garage got
Yeah.
shut down because of noise complaints.
It did.
It's like the most mundane way to go out. You want it to be like an explosion or like a drugs bust or
It was just a bit noisy. Yeah, a bit noisy.
A bit noisy, guys.
Yeah,
you could have put some better soundproofing in the roof there.
I know.
That would have been great.
God, yeah, if only. But it was. I mean, yeah. There was a lot going. I mean, Reading in general was a place where a lot of people have come from. I think Ricky Gervais came from Reading.
Yeah, he's Whitley. He's a Whitley boy.
Kate Winslet comes from Reading.
Yes, I worked with their cousin, allegedly. When I worked in the Virgin Megastore.
Really?
There was a girl there that claimed to be Kate Winslet's cousin.
Claiming to be.
I don't think she was.
I genuinely have a claim to fame with Kate Winslet. When I was a kid, I did live around the corner from her cousins. So this is, once again, this is weird. Okay, they're her actual cousins.
Actual cousins.
Like legit official.
Yeah.
Every Christmas for like 3 years in a row, she came carol singing to my house. Like Kate Winslet. At the time, I didn't know who she was. But I remember the actual last time I had a conversation with her, I said, what have you been doing? I was like 12. What have you been up to? She goes, I just finished a film called Titanic. Then that was it. She's gone now. She's Hollywood.
Hollywood. I think I've heard of that. It was the one with the boat, yeah?
Yeah, there was a few. Yeah, there was some sinking. Sinking boat thing.
Reading's weird though, because it's what the music industry likes to lovingly call a secondary market. Because Oxford's good, London's good, and then Reading's just sat in the middle.
Between.
Like, why would you go to Reading?
Yeah,
but it's one of those towns that's just kind of overlooked, but things still happen there.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, you mentioned, 2006-07, you hit the charts, and you described yourself in the past as a laptop musician as well.
Yeah.
What does that mean to be a laptop musician? Just like literally on the lappy.
I suppose like when I said that, which would be a while ago now, it wasn't really the thing to perform with a computer, and it wasn't very easy to do it. You kind of needed. Like, the audience isn't going to be very excited if you're just wiggling the mouse around and clicking it. It's not esports. So, yeah, it's like that bit of, like, trying to...
Yeah, is this going to work on a live performance?
It was difficult to get people knowing what was going on. That's why, like, laptop musicians end up with, like, peripheries and knobs and buttons, just to make it obvious that you're actually doing something live rather than just
pressing play.
Like Calvin Harris, just go, boom.
Yeah. Give me all the money.
Yeah.
Vegas, New Year's Eve every year, there's always Calvin Harris playing Vegas. I think about the amount of money that you must get.
He's done all right.
Yeah, he's done all right. But didn't you tour with Mark Ronson, right?
We did.
Okay,
we did.
That's a pretty exciting
That was good,
thing to do. Yeah.
And we were first on, but we were getting paid like way more than the band in the middle. All right, but the band in the middle just had a better manager than us. So they had we'd been booked in that order, and they'd come in going, no, we need a better billing because their singer did a song with Ronson. Okay. So it was like, we need better billing, and we were like, yeah, we don't care. Yeah. You're still paying us the same amount of money. Yeah, it's fine.
Did the middle band know that you were getting paid more as well?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and their crew did and all that.
Oh, no.
And it was just me, Pip, and Soundman Jim.
Jim?
In Jim's van. Not even like a proper touring van. It was like a workman's van, and we just rock up. All right, yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah.
I'll just set up my laptop in the middle of the stage
and play.
There you go. Hello, Ronson's fans. You don't like us. That's good. This man with a beard's going to rap at you. Enjoy.
I mean, Ronson as well has gone huge. Isn't? I mean,
he's a nice man.
Yeah,
he's a nice man.
I meet a lot of characters across the music industry and gaming industry, of course, as well. Different industries, but it's always nice when you find someone who is a genuinely nice person.
I thought he was going to be an arsehole.
Yeah,
like genuinely, he'd blown he'd had ooey, the like hip hop Ronson had already happened, but then he had the poppier, not pop as a derogatory term, but that big boom of the covers and all that was when we toured with him. And I just thought, like, he's like a rich lad who bounces back and forth from London and New York.
Yeah.
We've got nothing in common. And then the first time we met him, he was walking through like Geneva airport or something, and he had both his record boxes on him. And
of course he did,
He was grumpy and sweaty.
Did he have a long coat on?
He didn't.
Okay,
it was summer. He would have been silly. He's not a stupid person.
He's not stupid.
But like, and it was just like, oh, he's actually down to earth and all that, and he's like a normal human, and he's fully aware that he's privileged, I suppose. Like, that's the thing. I don't mind if people have been born lucky, as long as they know that they've been born lucky. But yeah, so he was a nice guy, and then to ask us to come do the tour was kind of like, really? Yeah, we'll do it.
Great.
It wasn't like a long tour. It was only like 5 or 6 dates, but...
Because I guess with you and Scroobius as well. You were doing like, I guess spoken word is very much a part of like your repertoire of work as well.
Yeah.
And he was working, I guess Ronson was working with like Lily Allen and those kind of talent as well at the time. That's kind of all in the part of the same bubble, I guess, as well. So it must have been an amazing experience, amazing time, to kind of be touring and doing that kind of stuff.
It was really good. And like, we did all sorts of stuff, like, because we got to support Ronson, but we also got to support Billy Bragg and Basement Jaxx and RZA from Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
We supported him. And it's like, because we were like so nothing genre-wise, like, was it grime? Not really, because he's doing spoken word. It's like, is it dance? Well, not really, because I'm too lazy. Like, do you know what I mean? We were in this weird bit of, we fit with so many different bands that we got to play cool shows and stuff. I think we even supported ABC at one point.
Yeah.
Shoot that poison arrow to my heart. But like, what the,
Did you, I got to ask, throughout this entire time, did you still find a way to take gaming on the road with you? Was there a way to do that?
It was funny. Pip did. Pip just played Champman on this like broken ass laptop the whole time. Like that laptop, it would chug. You would hear it sigh as he opened the lid on it. It was like, oh no, don't turn me on, man.
The one that every time you open it went tick, 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 at the beginning, yeah.
But yeah, he just smashed that for years. And I picked up a PSP along the way. I did Neo Geo Pocket for a while, but it was only good for fighting games.
Yeah.
And it's just not fun on the road.
Chat Manager, was that when it was still good, or when it kind of changed?
When it was still good.
Oh, okay, then it changed over to somebody else, and it was terrible. I think, terrible after that.
It was at that just before it
transition
went poo.
I used to have a friend of mine who used to play Chat Manager, and he used to, at the end of a season, print out his stats and highlight things against his friends to see who'd done better in certain, games. I thought, that's taking it to another level. I don't want to go there. That doesn't interest me at all.
Games are weird like
Games
that,
are weird, yeah. Everyone's got their thing. They're kind of their niche.
Like, you look at things like Elite Dangerous and stuff, and there's just people who are just hauling cargo. They just I'm just flying around the universe just shipping goods from one. You could do that in life and get paid to do it.
Well, Death Stranding's just come out as well, and that's a lot of that is taking packages from one place to another, and it's very, just doing his job.
Very delivery man.
Very Postman Pat in the future.
Ghosts.
Yeah.
We don't breathe. I imagine delivery guys have to do with dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Obviously you're gaming now still, and you Twitch stream, and we'll touch on that. But in terms of games now, I mentioned Death Stranding. Are you still finding a way to play games regularly now? Like, do you make time in your schedule to play games?
In like the last 6 months, a lot less, because there's been some game soundtrack stuff. There's been bits of like work, and if I get into anything girthy, the gaming wins.
Yeah.
So like when I'm trying to get paid, I shouldn't let the gaming get in the way.
It's very easy to get sucked in. You look at your watch and go, "I've been here for 4 hours. What happened? I've forgotten to eat a meal."
Yeah, and like with any game that's got PvP in it, I will lose the day, because as whatever happens, if you play PvP, you turn it on, you lose. Well, I've got to play till I win, or you turn it on and you win. Oh, this win streak, and you can't
keep it going.
There's no reason to ever stop. You're either winning, which is great, so you keep playing, or you're losing, which is very frustrating, so you keep playing.
Yeah. Until you win. Yeah, it's a vicious circle.
On the win streak then. I can't stop. I can't wait till the end of this win streak,
It's like we're living the same life here. We're literally living the same life here. I think a lot of games now as well, I get sucked into things like FIFA and sucked into one game that we both love and kind of, I don't know what terms hate, but Destiny 2 is a game that we both got sucked into quite a lot.
Well, I got sucked in at Destiny 1. Like, that was directly after Dan and Pip had just finished. We'd spent 10 years on the road and stuff, and I was like in my flat, and I was like, I'll just play this Destiny thing. And I told my mates I wasn't going to get it, and then I was in the Tesco.
The Tesco. Other supermarkets are available.
But yeah, it was cheap in the Tesco on day of release, because they do that.
They do that.
I'll just give it a go. And then like 16 hours later, I'm like, wait, why am I picking up this tinfoil thing off the ground? Why am I still doing it? Stop. Put it down. And then I managed to put like 2,000 hours into Destiny 1.
You can get so lost in games like that, because games with constant updates as well, like different patches, different kind of DLC things that happen all the time.
Well, it's great. Things like we're going to have a daily reset. So you get to do some bounties then each day, and we're going to have a weekly reset and do this and da. And it just ticks like a little dopamine box. Like the washing's piling up around me, the pizza boxes are all over me, but I still feel like I've achieved something today.
Yeah, there's a fort of mess around you, but still it's like, it's great because I've grinded it out. My light level's really high right now.
Yeah, my life is literally falling apart around me, but you know what? I do have a Galahorn.
I got an exotic. I'm really happy. So I guess
worthwhile.
There are people listening who haven't played Destiny before as well. So it's a PvP it's a PvE kind of game. There's like a campaign story, but there's also kind of like missions you do with like a group of 3 of you.
There's a very average story PvE. But then there's lots of repeatable live servicey PvE content.
Yeah.
But every time there's a lull in that, what keeps that game alive is the PvP.
Yeah.
Like that, the PvP community, especially for Destiny 1, kind of is the only reason you get a Destiny 2. They filled those 6, 7, 8 month lulls in content.
Yeah.
And like because it made for entertaining streaming, I think that kept the game alive in people's minds.
Yeah.
When you got people like Real Crafty and Triple Wreck and all that, just smashing Trials of Osiris every weekend
to get the loot and get the good stuff. Yeah,
carrying people through it and stuff. Just became kind of.
Well, I mean, for me as well, like that game as well, when they introduced the raid element as well, where you've got you've got to be a certain level, 6-man raid. There are like sometimes super convoluted puzzles.
People listening right now going 6, nothing. We have 16.
The raids in Destiny 2 are very difficult. Like you have to really put in a shift to get through those.
What I like about them though, it's not obvious. That thing of like some of the difficulty comes from like, what are we meant to do? Wait, so you've got to grab that and take that there. And there's one in is it in King's Fall in Destiny 1 where you only know what's going on by looking at the back of one of the 3 pillars, but it means that one of you has to stand next to the boss during the boss fight. And it's that kind of cool because you wouldn't notice it. It's like, it's a room looks a bit like a stage. It's very giggy, you know, and you would want to go stand on stage with the boss. But yeah, you just genuinely wouldn't think about it. And you see streamers going, have we got to learn Hive? Because they're looking at symbols on the wall. And it's like, oh no, it's literally just one of these pillars lights up on the back. That's all you need to know. But it's the getting there, and
it is, it is. It's the working, I guess, as a team to figure out what's going on, being the world's first and stuff.
But I haven't touched the most recent raid, which I'm grateful for. Because no offense if anyone who raids with me is listening, but you're terrible. I'm not the bad one.
Yeah, Dan, he's taking a step back because you need to improve your game.
You need to lift it.
It's embarrassing.
It can be a little frustrating with games like that because they have like a stat screen when you die, and when like 3 of you are sitting there having done all the DPS and there's one guy who's just like, oh, I was meant to be shooting the boss.
Oh, I only killed 3 things.
Dude. Like we have limited time.
Because you're streaming regularly. I mean, you were streaming regularly.
I was streaming regularly.
Okay.
And then I realized that was silly. So I just dropped down to like once or twice a week and just chill and chat.
It's because there is this weird. I mean, I'm streaming when I've had a chance to. There is a weird buzz you get out of growing your community. I think when you see that more people find your channel, more people trying to join in the chit chat on the comments and things. It's great to know that you're kind of growing something, but as a sustainable way of living and making an income, you've got to commit like your soul to doing that.
Yeah, the people who succeed are the ones doing 50 hours a week and are like spending another 30 hours a week on Twitch or on Mixer building a community with other streamers.
Yeah.
And, and that's just not something I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
Music's the thing I love the most. Yeah. So that should be the thing I spend the most time doing.
Well, music and gaming, you mentioned composing some music as well for, you've worked with Mike Bithell on some games. Tell us about that.
Thomas Was Alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was, which is a really abstract kind of adventure game.
Just him and Danny Wallace talking about squares.
Yeah. While you're bouncing along. I mean, I remember when it came out, there was the community went pretty wild for it because it was such a different take on a game. Yeah, it was really popular. What have you been working on with video games?
I've done a couple of games for him, again, like narrative, because he's a storyteller. That's his job. Like working with Pip, he was a storyteller. I kind of see them as the same thing. But we did a couple of kind of text adventures, a bit more than that, rather than just text on stream. But yeah, called Subsurface Circular and Quarantine Circular. But yes, just an interesting thing with music and gaming. And if I write a song, say I was lucky enough to work with Stormzy, I'd write a beat that fit for 3 minutes, because that's all you need to listen to. He's got to get his message across, and we move on to the next song on the playlist or whatever. In gaming, it doesn't work like that. If you're playing, I don't know, Super Meat Boy, and you're stuck on a level, you're hearing that music over and over and over and over, and it's a weird skill to be able to find a beat that you listen to and go, yeah, at the same time as you're still listening to it 44 minutes later and going, yeah, or at least not, oh no, not again, not this song. Not this song. Oh, this is hurting my little ears.
There is a fine line for sure. There really
like
is.
A weird skill.
Because I think it's in Quarantine. Is the premise of the game that you're talking to an alien? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like aliens come to Earth, and you're literally trying to make those first steps of first contact.
That's quite interesting, isn't it?
But the world itself is post-apocalyptical. I don't want to spoil any of it, but
spoiler alert,
there's that. And Subsurface Circular is a similar idea, but you are essentially a security guard on the Circle Line, but a futuristic Circle Line.
Okay.
But you're also a droid.
Right.
And you can't leave the train ever.
Being the Circle Line, are you just constantly apologising for it being broken or
Basically,
not working?
Yeah. Well, it's not in a circle anymore.
It's not, why is it taking 10 minutes? Just get here now.
But yeah, so it's kind of like these very... the way Mike wrote those games was very much about... They're almost like, you get movies that are just set in one room. They've got that vibe, but how to break out of that room without ever leaving that room and tell a story from that. And... yeah, no, it's really interesting. Do you get quite a brief of what they're after, or are you kind of, oh, this is what the game's premise is, this is what the story arc is, make something for it? So originally, Subsurface Circular was I was just going to write the little stings to each chapter and that be it. But Mike had these characters called listeners who are just like droids with headphones on, and they're just bobbing away while you're just going along the tube. And I was like, well, they can all be listening to music. And like, Mike, can you make their heads move at different speeds? He was like, yeah, all right, make his go faster and I'll give him some drum and bass. So, but yeah, so we kind of, that first one came about more that I was like, well, if they're on the tube, they're going to be listening to something and we're going to hear that. Whereas Quarantine Circular was very much, Mike was like, this is the big revelation chapter. I need this tension and but again, still having to work in loops. Yeah. So like, because people read at different speeds. Yeah. Again, if I'd written it for a movie, I could write exactly to the movement of the person. But, if someone's second language is English, they might have to listen to my music 4 times before they finish reading it. Is it something that you've kind of, having had that experience working on like an indie title, is it something that you kind of feel that you would want to take on if you were like given like a AAA game opportunity? Is it something, can you imagine the breadth of work that would take to actually create game music like that? I like, it would depend what it was. If it was like a Doom-esque thing where it's quite, Doom is an album in itself. Like you've got, each level is a song. It's a very, I don't know, like those closed worlds, those more linear worlds, I find interesting because you can really get in and feel that space. But open world stuff feels a little, just doesn't feel as exciting because the person can kind of hear it out of context. Yeah. I've always liked albums to feel like albums. So as you're moving through, you're getting taken to different places. Sure. Like, it's weird. Like if you go and listen to Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions, it's actually a really badly structured album because all the hits are at the start and then you just get essentially B-sides and it's like, come on guys, just pepper the but I think we get to we hear music out of context so much that it's nice when you get the opportunity to tell a story with it. You know?
Yeah, of course. And story. It's about story games. There's a lot of games out there with like a great narrative anyway. I mean, you've always kind of been a fan of campaign-based games, right?
Yeah,
like stories. Like what are some of the
Well, I think
favorites?
part of it is because, like, for streaming as well, it's kind of nice. It's actually a nice way to engage with other people. Like when so-and-so does, it's like, no way, oh my God. You know, it's more exciting to me to share that than it would be to, I don't know. Oh, cool cards have got an exotic. You know, it doesn't excite me.
Yeah.
Well, I get very excited about the exotic, but you know what I mean. But no, I just like what narrative games can do, especially some of the indie titles like Observation that came out earlier this year. You're basically the AI on a spaceship and trying to work out what the hell's going on. Like aliens and shenanigans and people mind control going on and stuff, but you're literally seeing the whole game through CCTV. But yeah, they just managed, it's a Scottish company called No Code, and they managed to tell an amazing, enthralling story, like super atmospheric, feels like 2001 or like the first Alien. You know,
That sounds great.
It's like a
that.
15 quid game
Yeah.
on Epic.
Yeah,
Boo, Epic. Boo. Sorry, gamers.
I mean, that's the thing. I think with I'm the same as you are. I think that playing a game where you have I like to have a beginning and an end of a game. I feel that some games are so open and so vast. They almost kind of don't put me off, but they always make me think that I don't want to. I know how much time I'm going to have to invest to really get the most out of this.
Yeah,
and sometimes I'm kind of almost. I'm turned off by the fact that it's too big a game. That's why I think Destiny for me became so. It almost became too big, and like every time I jump back in, I thought I've missed so much. There's so many things.
That's the problem.
It's
like
hard.
Once you've left it for a bit, how do you get caught up? How you feel like you've missed out. You've missed out on that bit of armor that was in one event, and you can never get it again. So you always feel a bit.
Which is why I'm so addicted at the moment. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order just come out, so there's obviously Star Wars big tick, lightsabers. I mean, come on. But there's like obviously the Star Wars hype in general with the new movie coming out, but having a game which is relatively linear but has that kind of Dark Souls-esque element where you've got to get to certain areas to save your progress. Otherwise, you've got to start from that beginning point. It's a grind. But it's a grind that has some kind of control. I can see what I need to do, what the actual kind of mission statement is, and I'll get there. And it's like, okay, I'm satisfied. Like when you kind of go on that winning streak, you kind of get to a point and go, I'm okay to put the controller down now. Yeah. Eat again, clear the mess.
But there is just something, I think as well, like, it's easier to share with someone who's not a gamer a story game. Like a narrative game, because you can say what the game's about, and you can in just an easier way than, like, I don't know, what's Warcraft about? What's World of Warcraft about? What
monsters are running around, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's kind of less understandable. But if you said to someone, you know, what's Fallout New Vegas about? It's like, well, it's a Western. But in a post-apocalyptic land, and it's like, and like my mum would understand those words. Maybe, I don't know.
Post-apocalyptic. I
don't know.
Maybe.
I think she's more into a asymmetric PvP.
Yeah, mine too.
Loves it.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, I think that there are so many games as well these days as well that you can't. I mean, they're actually remaking a lot of games, as we know. I mean, one game that I think we're both very excited about is Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
which
it.
looks. I mean, there's a game that on the PlayStation 1 that I played. It had 4 discs. It was a game that came at the right time for me. So I was like, this is so big. I know it's going to last a while, and I wasn't really that familiar with the Final Fantasy games. I kind of missed out, but 7 was one. I remember it being on TV, the adverts for it, left, right, and centre.
I think for a lot of people, it was
every
their
magazine.
First,
it was. Yeah, and I remember playing that and loving it. And the fact that they're actually completely reimagining the game, the same game, but made it for a 21st century audience with using like 4K, whatever capabilities, 60 FPS plus. It looks phenomenal. And there's definitely a market for that as well. People coming back to a game, despite having played it already to an extent, playing it again.
Well, we've been doing it with movies for years. How many times have we made King Kong now? Like, there is always going to be nostalgia for certain properties, I suppose. But with gaming, we are just now moving into that era of we can now remake that game this last few years. Bear in mind, the games industry in this form is quite young. It's still like in its like mid-20s, finding its way, you know. And it's now like looking back at its teenage years and going, oh man, I really like that haircut. I miss that haircut. Can I
love
get back
Cloud's
to that?
wild blonde spiky thing.
But you know what I mean? Like, I'm looking forward to Final Fantasy VII as long as they don't mess up the episodic thing, because that's the problem for me.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of games over the years, like franchises that I love the fact they brought back. I mean, I think Doom and Wolfenstein have made huge,
they've done really well.
Great. Bethesda's nailed those. I think the fast-paced action FPS.
The soundtracks are amazing as well.
They are.
Doom 2016 is like rambunctious metal, but
it's
fits
amazing
so well.
I mean, Cyberpunk next year as well. I reckon the soundtrack to that is going to be banging.
Fingers crossed, man.
Yeah, I hope so.
It's it's CD Projekt Red, so they should be fine.
I think so.
They won an award last week, the Golden Joysticks Awards, and they won the Most Wanted Game Award, which they also won the year before. That's weird.
2 years in a row.
We still haven't released the game yet, but we've already won 2 awards.
Yeah,
so weird.
I mean, gaming is as well. So much we talk, streaming as well. We talked about, but there's, as of the time of recording this, Google Stadia came out yesterday.
It did.
There's a whole new way of playing games now, which on like a cloud service.
People seem a bit grumpy about it.
They do, yeah. It's for those again who aren't familiar with the cloud gaming element. Basically, it kind of cuts out the need for a console or like a PlayStation or an Xbox, and basically connects you directly using Google and a special controller they've made. You basically Chromecast games, your library into your smartphone, TV, laptop, whatever it is, and play games. And I think you can stream those games directly to like Twitch, YouTube gaming, whatever it might be.
I think directly to YouTube gaming. I think.
Oh, is it specific? Okay.
I think if for Twitch you might have to capture it like you would a game.
Right. Okay. Obviously, it makes sense being Google and YouTube. And
they want to
because
play that.
That's a whole new way of, I guess. I mean, the guarantees they've made, like zero lag. There's going to be no latency. It's going to be pure, 4K. That is a big, bold statement to make.
It is.
Going on Google servers and just hoping that that's going to work.
And like the idea of it's amazing. And like we're all, most of us are probably using some bit of software that has some cloud functionality to it, whether that be just moving files around or like some processing's going on. Like in the music industry, there's the last thing you do before you release a record is you master it, which just brings all the levels up for radio and all that. There's cloud-based mastering now, so you can just throw it and some AI somewhere's going to go, let's just make this nice for Radio 1 for you. Here you go. Enjoy. But like, so it's something that's happening, but with Google Stadia bringing something so interactive and live into our hands, it's pretty bold of them to try it.
Absolutely. I mean, we at the same time, PlayStation. I think PlayStation Now is the kind of their cloud.
They've been doing it a while.
Yeah.
Me and my partner, because she lives in the States, for a while we were playing Critter Crunch against each other through PlayStation Now, and she demolished me every time. Like, if there was an esports scene for Critter Crunch, at one point she was on their leaderboards, number 2 in the world.
Wow,
which is crazy.
That's crazy.
She had a lot of time on her hands before she met me. Because I keep.
Now you're just playing. You're doing raids in Destiny now. That consumes her. Yeah.
But she is very good at it. But I put it down to lag.
Yeah.
She demolished me every time. Like, to the point that I regressed to 13-year-old.
Yeah. I don't want to play anymore. I'm done.
That's fine. I've got work to do. I'm going to go do my accounting.
I think, with that, Microsoft jumped in with Project X Cloud as well. It's a very, very similar kind of platform. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where this goes, really. I think it's bold.
Like, from the point of view, there's a few things about it, though. It's like, if Google were using their girth to design games that are designed for streaming, that might have made more sense than just launching with existing stuff. Having Assassin's Creed, when you've already got a comparable point of reference. I can play that on any platform almost and see that playing it on my console or on my PC is better than it is going to run on Stadia. But if they'd been investing into commissioning specific stuff that maybe doesn't quite can cope with a little bit of latency. I think it would have given Google a bit more leeway, maybe some more positive reviews, because I genuinely think all these companies launching now are just trying to be the first.
Yeah.
So that when the internet speeds catch up in a few years' time, they're the name in that. They're the big name in that. Like it's that thing with Spotify. We talk about Spotify. We don't talk about streaming platforms. Yeah. We don't talk about Deezer or Apple Music maybe. We always talk about Spotify because they're the one who got the market. And maybe that's what PlayStation Now and all that are trying to do. Yeah. But there is that weird problem with the business of it as well, because like Netflix is amazing for us, the consumer. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah. But the way Netflix works depends on the project. But generally what they do is you're going to make your show. How much did it cost? £10. All right, we'll give you 12 quid. So they give you like the cost of it plus like 20%, you know? Whereas if you think of that in terms of, I don't know, Stardew Valley, if he'd been given the cost plus 20%, he walks away with like 20 grand, maybe not even that, and that's it. Or he gets to make that game and blow up and make potentially, I don't know how much money they made from that, but let's say millions, and make way more games off the back of that. Yeah. Like that whole kind of Netflix for gaming model might not work for everyone. Yeah. You know,
I completely agree. I think you're right. I think it's going to it's an interesting experiment into I mean, I've been watching a lot recently about how, you know, with all these cloud services coming about, I've at the same time, it's the first time I've seen it, you know, we mentioned streamers and things as well. A lot of them now being signed up to certain platforms as well, like, you know, the Ninjas and kind of Ewok last week being signed up to Mixer.
Shroud went to Mixer
as well. Yeah. You know, these are hugely prevalent, like Twitch streamers predominantly.
The weird thing is as well with Mixer, those people aren't actually going to be generating Mixer a huge amount of money. What that feels like is, well, there's a lot of younger people who like Ninja. If we can get, when they're ready to start streaming, if their first choice platform is Mixer suddenly get way more content, way more new people coming up, and the potential of the next Ninja or whatever coming through.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Because at the moment, they average around the amount of viewers total on the platform at peak is about the same as the amount of people streaming on Twitch at peak. Yeah. So they're still very, very, very small in comparison, but they've got that money to...
Yeah. I mean, even like YouTube gaming, which I didn't think was a thing anymore, they sign like someone like Courage, and, you know, even what other platforms are there? I mean, there are a bunch of people who are basically committing themselves, like committing their... as a streamer, committing themselves to a particular platform for a certain amount of time, and you almost feel like it's like trading players, like kind of like a you know, be that basketball stars, whatever, where you commit yourself.
It is sports. Sports is a really good analogy, though. Yeah. You're signing a person to play for your team for a period of time. Exactly right. And obviously, we've done it in film and TV. You would sign up to a studio for X amount of years or X amount of movies or projects or whatever. So it's not like a weird thing for the entertainment industry to do. It's just that in gaming, we're kind of gamers, capital G gamers, see themselves as a community. Even if they're lots of little different communities, everyone looks at each other and goes, well, we all love games. And as soon as big companies come along and say, well, you can love that game, but you can only buy it here, and you can only do this, and this guy is only allowed to play that game. It starts getting a little like, oh, don't break up our community. But it's inevitable that it's going to happen in some way, because there's money in it.
There is, and it all comes down. I mean, a lot of it comes down to money at the end of the day. Always, you know, I can't even imagine the amount of money that some of these streamers have been paid to join those platforms and commit themselves fully to a particular place.
I genuinely think the amount of money that Ninja potentially got is probably more than he's actually going to generate from them for them directly, like way more. But you know what? That's, if you spend money on advertising, that's all that is, you know?
Exactly. Before I let you go, Dan, I've got to ask you, favorite game of all time? Give it to me. I know it's a really hard question. I've asked guests on the show all the time about favorite games, and it's hard to say because I always attach it to certain memories, like different games for different times in my life.
Yeah.
There's one you had to say is like, okay, that's the one I could have almost always come back to in my top list.
Honestly, like it's a game called Super Meat Boy.
And it's a great game.
It's platformer. It's like something. It taught me that I was better at games than I thought I was, but not as good as I'd like to be.
Yeah.
You know, the soundtrack, Danny Baranowski's soundtrack is amazing. So if you play it on PC, that's the soundtrack you hear. It's just so good. And it got me excited about, I could make music for games. It was the game that made me think I could do that. And yeah, it's just a little cube of meat running around into saw blades. And yeah.
It is a beautifully simplistic but bloody addictive game.
Like I felt better completing that game than I ever did like soloing a raid on Destiny or anything like that.
You finish a level that is so hard and you just go, yes!
Yeah. Like,
there's like a roar.
Like a level that the first time you see it, you take one step and die.
Yeah. Even though I'm not 17, my reflexes still work.
Yeah. I'm
still
worried
functioning.
I've not touched Meat Boy in like 2 years and I'm like, maybe
just
it's all gone now.
Just save it. It happened once and you smashed it. So
I've completed, fully unlocked everything in it twice now. So I've done it. You've done
your time. You've done your time.
I'm not ever going to play Boshi, thankfully. But do you
it.
know that game?
I don't know Boshi.
I want to be the Boshi. There's this really, really the hardest platformer of all time. Air quotes. I want to be the guy. And there was a guy who played that called Boshi, and he was complaining it wasn't hard enough. Right. So somebody came along and made I Want to Be the Boshi, and they just steal like characters from Street Fighter in it, but it's still like ridiculously hard platformer. And it was so hard. Boshi quit playing the game. Like he was like, "No, it's too hard, man."
That's crazy.
But yeah, it's insane.
Oh wow!
If you ever get to watch the Witwick's GDQ Games Done Quick of I Want to Be the Boshi. Watch it. It's amazing.
I Want to Be the Boshi.
I Want to Be the Boshi. He's like that joy of like someone who's better at games than you'll ever be, yet whilst quipping with the audience.
Mate.
Like, all right, lads.
Showboating.
Show off.
Yeah, absolute show off.
Show off.
Mate, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been great to have you here. And if you're still streaming, I'm going to catch your streams.
Yeah, every now and again.
You're podcasting, you're doing all kinds of different things.
We didn't talk about that, but yes, I have a podcast and stuff.
What's the podcast called?
Falling Forward with Dan Lussac. It's a series of conversations between creators. It's generally like, I used to be about creativity. Now it's just me and whoever makes stuff.
Brilliant.
Going, oh, you made that? That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Let's talk about that for a bit.
That's great. Check out Dan's podcast as well. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'll see you online.
Yeah. Hope not. You don't want to know what I do online.
Oh, me too.